Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. Well, the weather certainly hit here and England is buried in snow. This is currently sort of what I'm looking at. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of let up in the not too distant future. So I thought it would be a really nice idea to put together a very quick how-to. Recently I launched a product called the Snowdrops set. And it's been very popular and a lot of you have the set, and so you're working on your snowdrops probably in the snow. What I'm going to show you now is a very quick additional little make that you can make using your snowdrop set, and it's this fantastic little daisy flower. Actually, it's not that little, it's huge. But what you're going to need for this project is some green and some white of your favourite wool. This is the wool that we stock. It's a New Zealand carded bat and it's the white, and this is our evergreen. I'm going to use a 22 gauge wire because I want this to sort of, you know, stand up very upright, probably in a little terracotta pot or something. And then we're going to use some yellow as well. I don't have that to hand, but I'll grab that as I progress. So to get started, this isn't going to be one of my longer-winded tutorials where, you know, I'm showing you techniques and, you know, showing you how to fill the templates and all that kind of stuff. This is just how this thing goes together. For this, you're going to need this template from your Snowdrop set. It's worth mentioning that this petal shape is also going to be featured in the sunflower set. So if you've got the sunflower, which hasn't been launched yet, you'll be able to make this too. And you're going to make 16 of these petals. There are, what was it? It was 0.2 grams per petal in this, and they're going everywhere. Yeah, 0.2 grams per petal, and I believe there are 16 of them. This is where I find that I've actually dropped one along the way, so there we go. 16 petals, and that's in the white. Make those, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to start assembly. You're going to start with 4 of your 16 petals and just begin by putting them in the sort of the 4 directions, like so. Just this little bit of overlap in the middle. Don't firm them up too much and lift them from your surface so it doesn't get stuck. So that's that for very lightly tacked. That needs a little bit more. And then do exactly the same with another 4. You can do another 4 like this, or just bring them in and join them like so. And just sort of spread them out and move them around until you're happy. Don't felt down too much or too heavy on this initial kind of joining, and then you can move them around a little more. It's a little bit like that, and then once you're happy, just go around the center quite firmly. And this is driving. I know I talk a lot about, you know, surface felting, but this is actually driving. We're going to drive these petals. Doesn't matter if the back gets a bit fluffy, that's all going to be covered up. So we've got this one really doesn't want to felt in. There we go. So we've got this basic shape. Go around in the middle a lot. We still want to attach more petals here, but we want to give ourselves that nice defined centre. And then come in with your other petals, and again we're going in between again, but I'm going to bring in a heavy duty 36 star just for speed. Really get those petals stuck on there, and then again move around between the next two. Between the next two. You get the idea. It's just work it all around. I'm doing this very, very quickly. I don't want this to be a long tutorial. Just a quick kind of happy project whilst it's snowing outside. So I'm going to bring that. Always keeping that kind of centre. And you'll find that by doing this, you'll get some nice kind of curves on your petals as well. Don't forget to keep lifting it as well. You don't want to get it stuck to your surface. I've lost my petals. There they are. So back between the next two. You can see it forming. Looking at it from the camera that's here, if you see what's happening here, we're getting that kind of spiked up. And it's just occurred to me that if you did exactly the same thing, but used this pointy end as the top of the petal, you could make one of those water lilies. Random thought that popped into my head as I was doing this. And then the last one, has occurred to me that I absolutely can't count. There's my missing petal. There we go. I haven't even counted these, so if it's wrong, I do apologise. There, so we've got a nice firm centre. We've got all of these lovely petals. So if you're going to do the water lily idea, what I would do right now is put another row of these petals, maybe just fill the template 3/4 so they're a bit smaller, and go around in there, and then, you know, maybe put some beads or something in the middle, and that, you know, felt yourself a lily pad and you've got a really nice water lily there. But we're making a daisy. So there's my centre. So what we're going to do now is grab some yellow. Okay, so I found some yellow, and this is the bright yellow that we stock. Again, it's still the same New Zealand carded bat. And What you're going to need now is something that is round and circular and about that size. You can eyeball it, it's absolutely fine. I've got a little circle template, so I'm going to use that. What I'm going to do now is just put the wire in for this. You can put the wire down through the back if you want. It's entirely up to you how you want to do this. I'm going to do this now, so I'm going to use my awl, and I'm just going to poke a couple of holes. So I'm going to come up through, go around and go back down. That's the first one. And that's the second one. So 22 gauge. We're going to come through one, bend it over, oh, I've lost the other hole. No, not a problem. There it is. And just pull it through so it just catches all of that in the middle. Bring it to the back, cross them over quite tightly, and then just twist your wire. You can, a 20 gauge will, a 20 gauge is really rigid, so you could probably get away with using a 20 gauge or an 18 gauge just on its own, but I'm using the 22. I'm going to cover this. I might go the florist tape. That's nice and quick. So there's my flower. If it's going in an arrangement, you could have it upright. I'm going to do one that's sort of stood face on like this. So I'm just going to bend that wire down like that. I'm going to grab my template, and I'm just going to stuff a bit. It's probably about another 0.2 of a gram in there as well. I'm just going to start just roughing out the shape. Doesn't need to be anything more than that right now. Or you could pop some beads on there. You know, there's lots of options. So all I'm doing is just catching. Let's get these out of the way. Catching and attaching, remembering that there is that wire there. I'm using my 38 star. And by catching the edge like this, it will form a sort of a dome. I'm going to come in with my 40 spiral, just flatten that down a little bit. There we go, one daisy centre. Now what I'm going to do is show you the green back bit. As you can see, this one has this sort of lovely jagged sort of edge, and I'm going to show you how to make a very quick visual calyx like that. grab some green. You don't want too much, you can always add a bit more. So there's probably about 1.2 grams in this again. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull my wire up and I'm going to rough out this green. You know, I could come in with my template, but I'm just going to eyeball this. Let's get that up out of the way. Just start by going round and drawing the size of the circle you want. You're going to bring these fibres in nice and lightly, nothing's set in stone yet. Just work round in that centre. Like that. Bring it down. You want it fairly loose at this point. We don't want anything too flat and too firm. Because what we're going to do is use these loose fibres. Let's see if I can get this. This is the middle, and I'm going to point my needle that way, and I'm just going to catch some of these fibres and push them that way. Perhaps this is a little too loose, I might need to felt this down a little bit more, but as you can see, that's just starting to poke them out. So again, I'm going to go out from the middle, back in, and you're just going to work around the whole thing, just going out from the centre, just catching those fibres. And you'll create this sort of jagged edge. I'm going to do one more just to make sure that I've got it clear on camera. So just grab these top fibres, push them out that way, and then bring in between. And you can do that as frequently as you like, around. So out and then in. I'm going to do it fairly infrequently, just for speed. And obviously you can make these bits as wide or as narrow as you like. So that's, see how we're getting that really nice and wandering around on the camera. I'll just put a last one in here. You know, and I've shown you here from very thin, and then you can make them as thick as you like. I'm going to make this one a little bit thicker so it matches the others, but you know, you do what visually you prefer. There we go, that's the back done. I'm just going to bend my wire back in. I'm just going to come back in at the front, just go around that middle, and I'm not driving all the way through, just nice and light all the way around, just to bring back that sort of fluted curve, make my petals a little more random. There, that's it. You can absolutely leave it there, or you can grab some florist tape and tape up the wire, or you can wool and wax the wire You know, there are lots of options from here on in. I'm probably going to go the route of the florist tape, so I will wind that and we'll be done. I've grabbed my florist tape and let's get my needles and stuff out of the way. To use florist tape, you get yourself sort of a bit, and this really does depend on how long your stem is. Grab yourself a bit. It's not sticky, but it does stick to itself, so to sort of activate it, you hold one end, you pinch, and you sort of pull and stretch. You can hear that noise and you're good to go. Let's get that out of the way. The way that I do this is you get it up as obviously as close as you can. The first bit's always a bit fiddly. Wrap it over your wire and wrap it over itself so it anchors. And you may need to go round a couple of times. You squish it down, hold it, wrap it round on itself. So you've got it anchored. Then you roll it down the wire, and to do that you angle it so that you are pointing down. You see the angle in the wire, and just, it does get a little fiddly sometimes, and just roll it down the wire. All the way down. You can put a steeper angle on it if you want. So roll it all the way down to the end. I always roll it off the end. Pull it off. Now my original florist wire was 12 inches, so my little flower now is probably more like 6, but there, it's finished. How quick was that? I could just see sort of a few pots of these, those little mini terracotta pots with these in, perhaps a Mother's Day gift. There we go. One daisy done from your Snowdrop petal template. I do remember that my templates when I'm filming are thinner than yours. This is a 10mm, yours will be 15, so your template won't look quite like this, just so you're aware. There we go, 2 daisies done. Add them with other flowers, make arrangements, brooches, hat decorations. You know, the list is endless of what you can do with these very cheerful little flowers. That's it. Thank you for joining me on this very quick little how to make additional little project, and I wish you all a very crafty day.